But like you said, representation matters. And I'm very lucky that my representation is right here sitting next to me. Kristi, I met her 2 years ago at the same event in Vegas. And I remember being a young kid at 12 years old and looking up, and I saw Kristi win the gold medal. And I remember saying, Dad, I'm like, she's Japanese. Like, I could do it. I'm like, if she could do it, I can do it. And Kristi is the best in the world, right? She won a gold. And so that's something I'm still striving for now as a coach. But yeah, without her being in the spotlight and winning, then I definitely now believe that I could do it. So definitely representation matters. And I hope I could be that for someone else.
Welcome to API Futures, a podcast by Ascend where we empower global leaders of tomorrow. Here's our guest host for this episode.
So, Dion, tee us up. We've got a very legendary panel, and it has sports to do with it. Tell us all about it.
We have 4 special guests, and these are people from all walks of life in the sports industry. I want to make sure I get all of this right, so I am checking my notes. But let me tell you, these are sometimes household names.
Yeah.
These are people behind the scenes and on the field.
All the above. Wow. This is a very unique panel. I don't think it's ever been assembled like this.
It's never been assembled like this. And it's also a special recording of API Futures, a podcast by the Ascend Network. So you will all be live in the audience for this recording.
Okay. Oh, hi, Mom, if you're watching then.
Is everybody ready? Gotta shout out, Mom.
You gotta shout out, Mom. All right, Dion, set us up. Let's go.
All right. Introducing 4-time Super Bowl champion of the 49ers and founder of the Sapolu Destined Academy in Southern California. Give it up for Jesse Sapolu.
Come on, everybody. Legendary. Wow. That is so cool.
Pretty good. All right, we're just getting started. Up next, we have the Vice President of Marketing and so much more for the NFL, Stephanie Hsiao.
Let's give it up. Come on, the NFL's in town.
Man, women's in sports in leadership positions.
Just amazing. Amazing. Killing it. This is awesome.
And she's rocking that awesome Adidas limited edition, only in China jacket.
I like that.
I want it.
I want to. Do you have a blue one like that? All right.
Up next, we have none other than, hey, your friend. You want to introduce her?
Oh, yes. I see her right there through the fence. Come on. How many, the Winter Olympics are coming, by the way. You guys going to be watching? Yes? Well, this legend came from the Bay Area. She's our very own, and she is an amazing person, not only off the ice, but on the ice. You know her as an Olympic champion. Give it up for gold medalist Kristi Yamaguchi. There she is.
And last but not least, let us introduce former WNBA player, pint-sized dynamo, and current head coach of the Golden State Valkyries, Natalie Nakase.
Valhalla's here in Chinatown right now. Let's go.
All right, welcome to the stage, everybody. We are taping officially API Futures. Thanks you for being here. What a diverse panel we have.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Excited.
All right. So, by the way, Jesse, how do you feel? You're with a panel of all these ladies. Do we intimidate you?
Feel very special today.
Right answer. Okay, I want to start off by asking this question because all of you, at one point or another, were the only one in your field or one of just a few. So how did that pose challenges for your career? Because women in sports, for example, I'll get to you, Jesse, in a second. It's difficult. Natalie, you're looking at me like you got some stories.
Well, thank you. No, I think, honestly, being different, I think it ended up being my superpower. And a lot of people, especially at a young age, kind of, don't like it, or they feel like they have to have some type of acceptance and they look for validation. Yeah, I think I learned at a young age, like, just don't care about what people think, embrace being different. And I think that could be your superpower.
I'm sure a lot of parents out there want their kids to go into business, but then when they heard business and sports, Stephanie, can you share your experience, what that was like?
Yeah, I think I didn't intend to go into sports, but grew up swimming, so it was naturally a part of my life. I think I didn't have like an Auntie Stephanie or an Uncle Jesse that was in sports, so I didn't even know it was an option. And I think now I'm just super energized because maybe I might not get to where I want to go to, but if I can make the path easier for those that come behind me, so there's more of us in the future, that's all that really matters.
Gotta love that. And Kristi, love for you to weigh in also.
I think similar to Natalie, I think, just chasing a dream and going after whatever my goal was and not really worrying about like, oh, there's no one else out there that looks like you or, not putting, a limit on what I could achieve. So it was really just, hey, go for it, make the goals, don't worry about the doubters and just believe in yourself. Yeah.
Now, Jesse, things might be a little bit different for you because you are of Samoan heritage and there are a significant number of Samoan players in the NFL. Did you feel extra pressure in some way to represent?
Well, now we do, but 13 out of my 15 years, I was by myself. So, representing, I grew up in Hawaii, and we have a strong Asian Pacific Island community. So I grew up with a lot of my Asian brothers and sisters in school. So I understood that it came with a lot of responsibility, and that weighed heavy on me, not only on the football field, but I know all eyes were on me, how I behaved off the field, and that was important to me. Sometimes I wish there were more of us, because during the off season, and I'm sure my sisters here can attest to this, the demand on your time, you need to appear here, and you're by yourself, compared to my black brothers who can share the burden. So I'm very happy. We got 6 Pacific Islanders that are playing Sunday in the game. That's amazing. So we've come a long ways. I'm proud of the progress that we made, but we kind of carried a little heavy burden when we first started off.
And we so appreciate you for doing that. Speaking of moving forward and diversity and also representing, Natalie, I'm looking at you because you not only played, but you're just over 5 feet tall.
Hey.
You had a lot of...
Hey now.
You had a lot of adversity to overcome. You got to be tough as nails.
Yeah, but again, I tried to look at my height, which I don't talk about anymore, but I try to use that as my advantage. But like you said, representation matters. And I'm very lucky that my representation is right here sitting next to me. Kristi, I met her 2 years ago at the same event in Vegas. And I remember being a young kid at 12 years old and looking up and I saw Kristi win the gold medal. And I remember saying, Dad, I'm like, she's Japanese. I could do it. I'm like, if she could do it, I can do it. And Kristi is the best in the world, right? She won a gold. And so that's something I'm still striving for now as a coach. But yeah, without her being in the spotlight and winning, then I definitely now believe that I could do it. So definitely representation matters. And I hope I could do that for someone else.
This is so nice to hear because I know Kristi feels very similar about you and the path you have forged. Kristi, can you elaborate a little bit about how you feel?
Absolutely. And I think, when we met 2 years ago, there's just like a connection and I was just in awe of everything she had accomplished and continued to, and breaking way more barriers, I think, in sport than I ever did. And, being a coach, coaching the men's team, going to Japan, coaching a professional men's team there, and captain at UCLA for 4 years as a walk-on. Who does that? She does. So, I think when I heard she was the new coach of the Valkyries, I was so excited to support the team, support Natalie. And I knew she was gonna, coach of the year here. So, yes. Woohoo! Valkyries.
And Stephanie, you are in a leadership position. You have the power, and that's a great responsibility to change the way the organization can be shaped. You have the power to uplift those within the NFL. Well, how do you do that? What do you do?
I think it starts with just building community, finding each other and making sure that people feel like their voices are heard. I think we've all been in rooms where we might have been like the only. So the more that we have people that, you benefit from different perspectives. I think rather than it being a competition, just making sure that you're uplifting the people around you. And like you said, yeah, it's great to be able to build influence and be able to change things from within. The NFL is a great organization to work for. We have a lot more, I think, AAPI people working at the NFL than people think. So, yeah, long way that we've come, but much more to go as well.
And something I love is that there is life after your career in sports. And Jessie, I've got to ask you about this because you have a phenomenal school down in Southern California. Can you tell me what inspired you to do that? Because it's a tremendous undertaking.
Well, I've been going to the Pacific Islands and Australia and New Zealand to do camps since the late 80s. And, you do camps, you see the kids use sports as a way of getting a free education. That was the way we promoted it then. And then now a lot of those kids are coming from overseas and playing in the NFL, like Jordan Mailata, who's a tackle with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is just the next step. Kristi and I did a reading program in my neighborhood. I grew up in the middle of projects, and when I share with the kids, and I share it to motivate them. The second semester of my sophomore year in high school, I had 6 Fs. Not because I wasn't smart, it's because I had low self-esteem, and I climbed my way out of it. So for me to own a private school, I can just see the coaches that coached me then and the adults that helped me along the way will say, Jesse owns a school. It just goes to show you that if you believe in something and you give back to your community, God will bless you and make everything possible if you give it your best.
In tremendous ways you don't even know. You mentioned reading program, so it's a natural fit for me to ask Kristi about Always Dream, because you have channeled this moment of the Olympics into something that has left a legacy for young people across the country.
Yes, it's founded Always Dream about 30 years ago. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year, and we're all about early literacy and making sure every child out there has access to high-quality books, family engagement support, so they are able to create reading routines at home, because this is the foundation to their education. And reading, right, it's a fundamental need for that success at school. So we want to just make sure that every child out there, particularly in underserved communities, have that.
Incredible. And even though you are in the thick of your career right now, Natalie, do you have people in your life that acted the way that Jessie's mentors did, that gave you the self-esteem? Who was that magical person or persons?
Yeah, I think that's really important. Mentoring and just having that responsibility is very impactful. Like you said, if he is a really low self-esteem, people helped him. And that's been my dad. My dad has been my best friend, my rock, since the day I think I was born. But no, he's been there. He's definitely a hard truth teller. He believes in tough love. And so I think the discipline, my work ethic, it's actually an obsession that I have, which again, don't feel weird, right, Kristi? Like my dad was like, well, if you work hard like Kristi, then maybe you can get there one day. So again, like I'm very, grateful to have an iconic dad who really instilled like tough love, hard work, and discipline.
And what about you, Stephanie? Because I saw you nodding over there. You must have had mentors and champions along your path.
I think all along the way, maybe when I was younger, it was the coaches, right? They're so such a formative part of your experience growing up. And then as I got kind of more into the professional world, I think just having colleagues, bosses that were willing to speak my name in rooms when I wasn't in them, I think really helped.
Do you do that as you lead your organization?
As much as I can.
Ooh, I like that. That brings me to a question about what was that moment? Was there a defining moment in all of your careers when you realized the hard work paid off and that, yes, I am exactly where I am supposed to be? Jessie, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I spoke about my struggles in high school, especially my early years in high school. And then I had a coach that I would be in my math class and the teacher would be on the blackboard and all of a sudden she would say, "Hi, coach." The whole class turns around. He would poke his head in to make sure I'm in the classroom. That registered to me that somebody cared. And believe it or not, that small little thing that he did kind of triggered myself in the right direction. And when I first got my first letter from my university that said they're willing to offer me a scholarship to come there and attend and play football, I ran all the way home. I didn't even feel tired. It was like a 3-mile run, but I was so excited. I ran all the way home. And that was the start of me saying to myself, hey, There were coaches that sent the elevator down to get me when I hit the bottom. And there were coaches that serviced those elevators when they got stuck. And I just want to get back to the same way to all of our young Asian and Pacific Island kids that are trying to, maneuver their journey.
That is so beautiful. Kristi's clapping. The audience is clapping. So true. And Kristi, same for you. Talking about not only the defining moments, but how you pass those on to inspire others.
I think one of the things was right after the Olympics, I was 20, kind of bright-eyed, didn't know what was ahead for me beyond the Olympics, but my mom and dad asked me, well, what are you going to do to give back? You've been so lucky and fortunate. You had support, you had this idea, and you were able to go after your dreams. Now it's time to pay that forward. And, at 20, it's like, I don't know, what do I do? But I had always wanted to work with children. I always wanted to, maybe help be the support for them, inspire their dreams, whatever that may be. So yeah, that's really how Always Dream was founded, was, knowing that I want to pay it forward somehow and, have something to leave behind other than the Olympics at 20.
But now you're touching children's lives in how many states again?
2 states, Bay Area as well as the state of Hawaii. So about, over almost 3,000 kids a year.
Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot. And Stephanie, I wanted to ask you too about when was the time you thought to yourself, okay, the path that I'm on is the right path? Because I think self-doubt is something that so many young people deal with these days. Am I doing the right thing? The economy is so challenging, etc.
I think, and I'm going to take a page from Natalie's book here. My parents still have no idea what I do, but I think that my validation moment was my dad was like, you made good choices in your life. So I was like, okay, I'm doing all right for myself. I feel like the best days are still ahead, but I think that was a moment where I was like, all right, I can look back and say that I'm doing all right.
That's a very common theme. I remember my parents thinking, oh, you're on TV? Can you make money? Where's your paycheck? That's all they want to know. Natalie, I mean, you had a very supportive father, though, but playing sports professionally as a woman, triply challenging.
Yeah. Yes and no. My dad's passion was basketball. And so since that's what we did every single day, I thought that was my passion. So basketball ended up being my love language. Again, maybe not super popular amongst, other Asians. But like you said, we're growing, and we're trying to connect and we're trying to empower and we're trying to get more and more. And so however we can help, I mean, we're all I could feel everyone's heart here. Everyone is giving. And so we take this responsibility not lightly at all. And so however we could help, we are there for you, because the more that we can empower, I think the better.
And this is giving back right here. Look at all of the people out in the crowd who are here to hear your words of advice and to learn your stories. I would love to wrap up now with a personal message from each of you to maybe the young kids, the older generation as well, who may have children. Some advice, some words of encouragement in a very challenging time for the world. Jesse, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, and owning a school, you learn that the parents ain't quite as tough on the kids as our parents were with us growing up. Some things have changed. I try to hang on to the foundation of how we became successful. I work with a lot of island players that are now in the league, and for them to call me uncle, Puka Nakua calls me uncle and then tries to beat the 49ers, I'm proud of them, but I want the 49ers to beat them. That's just the way it is, So we got a lot of these young men who call me uncle, and it's a term of endearment, and it reinforces that I'm doing something right. And I'm proud of them, but it's my job to make sure that they remember to give back to the next generation that are coming up, because I'm getting up there in age. So that's what I'm so proud of right now.
That's beautiful. I'm going to call you uncle now, too. All of us are going to call you uncle. Stephanie, what about you? Anything for the young women out there?
Young women, young men. I would say mindset matters so much. I think I have a saying that's like always on my phone whenever I look at it. And it's gratitude changes everything. So how you approach whatever you're going through, if it's struggles, if it's something great, I think just think about like, hey, there's something to be grateful for in that moment. If you're feeling down, what are you supposed to learn from it? There's something to be grateful for in that moment. So I think that that's really helped me along for sure.
I think we forget about practicing gratitude because we take many things for granted. Yeah. All right, Kristi, you're up.
I don't know. I think I'm going to take a quote from another coach, Ted Lasso. But don't be judgmental, be curious. Because I found that the older I've gotten, the more I've had to keep reminding myself that. Like you're always growing, you're always learning. And when you surround yourself with people better than you, you're only going to, get that one step closer to whatever your goal is. So, yeah, be curious.
God, it's tough to follow.
Hard to be the last one.
Yeah, no, I would go based off of, I agree. Like, I think nowadays it's different. Like, we can't be as hard, but no, it's okay. I think parents, pay attention. Make your kids struggle as much as you can. Put them through adversity moments as much as you can. My dad, when I was in grade school and I was killing my grade, he made me play against boys. And then when I was in high school, made me play against women. Like, he always put me on a new team to where I was at the bottom. And he's like, you got to figure out how to be the best when you're at the bottom. And so I think that kind of goes to now how I handle my career and how I just love to instill, within our roster and our players. They define, the inevitable of being the best expansion team, whatever we did. We did all these things. But that belief and then that adversity and struggle, put them through it, because I think, that'll help them prepare for the real world. Like you said, like, it is not easy. And I think being a kid, you have to put them through the actual experience.
How many of you feel inspired right now at this moment? I think we need to wrap up our panel. So everyone, please, a round of applause for Jessie, for Stephanie, Kristi, and Natalie. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you, Dion.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to API Futures, where we empower global leaders of tomorrow. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube.